Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Blitz and Rapid stream here on Friday. That's right, it's Friday morning, not Wednesday, as I believe last night. Friday morning on Twitch and lichess. International Master William Pascal. We are just going to play some Blitz and Rapid chess between 5+3 and 7+3. What that means is that you can challenge me to anything with a 5 to 7 minute starting time, an increment from 3 to 5 seconds. That's not really implied, but that's how we do it. So anything like 5+3, 5+4, 5+5, up until 7+3, which is our max time control, which lasts up to, like, you know, some of those games can go almost 20 minutes actually. So 16, 17 minutes for a game is pretty long. I'm still trying to get over this cold I have. Pretty much part of the way there. What's up, Soltigo? Got your message earlier. That's fine. I've got challenges. I'm going to take the subscriber challenges usually first. Troll is not a subscriber, but I'm going to give him one more chance to subscribe before I push him to the back of the bus. We're going to play this 6.5 to just kind of 6.5, I'm going to call it. Just kind of warm up before I start playing the regular chess games. Alright, so we've got subscriber challenges from Aldisto, and the rest of the guys can insult go, and we'll play this one game with Troll just to get started. Troll is he's on subscriber welfare. Alright, C4. We're going to give him an honorary subscription for another week and let him play first. But I like the warm-up game in the Chess 960. It's like a slow pace. I feel like if I play the normal chess game that's like 5+3, I'm going to like lose on time because I'm not really awake yet. Aldous is not a subscriber at the moment either, so he's going to have to go on the dole as well. I'm just kidding, guys. That's cool. I know that you have a lot of expenses. It's not necessary to subscribe every month. I just really appreciate the ones of you who do. It's awesome. So c4, c5, knight b3, my least favorite square for knights, but it's different here. I mean, I think he's trying to brust my center with d4, and that's possible. Troll is more awake than me because he's 2 hours later in time. Alright. b6, however, would weaken my structure. I'm not sure I really want to do that. I mean, there's no fianchetto bishop on the white squares over here. So maybe I ought to consider, like, just... The thing is, d6 blocks my bishop on b8. That really sucks. I think maybe we'll go with knight e6. This may be a blunder, actually. Or I can repeat position after something like knight a5, knight d8. I don't know if I like this. There wasn't really... What am I thinking? I'm actually protected, so I didn't need to do this move. Alright, I'm not awake yet. My c5 pawn was already protected, although it can get attacked again by the bishop on g1. That would require him to move his f-pawn, which I'm not sure he wants to do or not. Alright, guys, we're going to try to start over because I sounded really crazy thinking I had to defend my pawn there on c5. Knight e6 is still not a bad move, but I'm a little concerned about the weakness of b7, and I just created that for myself. Nevertheless, then I couldn't go to c6 without dropping the pawn on c5. Maybe I should have played b6 anyway, I don't know. I could actually go back to d8, that's pretty stupid. But I can't allow him to go into b7 or I lose a piece, so this is not a joke. I might have to go back to d8. Alright, I feel really ridiculous about this. But actually, knight back to b8, he has bishop e4 now. So we're in a very awkward situation. I have to play rook c7 or something. Oh my god. Alright. This is not good. Completely screwed this up. Do not try this at home. You messed up. You didn't sleep for like 36 hours? playing like this, it's hard to believe. He closed his eyes a few times. That looks like an incisive move. Man, I'm in big trouble here. Yeah, it's good I decided to play this game first. God knows what would have happened if I had played the regular chess games. I've been awake for like an hour, but I'm still feeling groggy. Yeah, he goes to d4 now. I'm getting ripped to shreds here in the center. I'm gonna just try to hold this together, I guess. If I take on d4, he takes with the knight. Knight takes d4. It's really bad. Everything is really bad here. But Troll's opening is much better than mine. I keep saying this. I don't know, I just can't seem to get the hang of the opening in chess 960. I'm terrible at it. Okay, I wasn't paying attention with knight e6. That was really dumb. Now I had to put my rook on c7 to protect this. That's ridiculous. White's probably just winning in this position somehow. I don't see a forced win, but there's so many good moves. I mean, just like knight c3. If knight c3, maybe I could take his pawn on d4, and now even there, I mean, I can never take on c4 because b7 will be hanging. I lost the initiative. 3 castles possible. It's one of those moves I'm definitely not going to see when I'm asleep. Yeah, it's definitely possible, but I'm going to have a little problem with knight a5. I think that's deadly. Isn't it like game over? Like knight a5 resigns? Unless you can sack a pawn with d5. Which I kind of doubt. What just happened here? Troll just closed the position. Close the position, I mean, it's still better for white, but that's the totally wrong idea, I think. He has no threats, ATM, and well, I shouldn't say he has no threats. I mean, e4 is a threat, but at least it's better than it was. He's still clearly better. So it looks pretty ugly. Dutch gone bad for black. I'd like to get in a6. I've played knight a8. We know how much we love that idea here. This is really grotesque for black. I'm just losing the f5 square, so I don't know what I can do. I mean, queen f6 looks extremely artificial. Again, I can't see these rooks protecting pawns. I mean, I saw it was protected, then I forgot about it. The same thing happened to me with the other pawn on c5. Like, I didn't see my rook was protecting it. Okay, it's not normal chess, and I played very little chess 960. So I can be forgiven for like not seeing these moves. They're not normal for me. If I played more chess 960, I guess it would become second nature, but I don't, so. This isn't as much to stop knight b5 as it is to actually try to play maybe b5 to get some counterplay and undermine his center. I think that my setup is like a Benoni, so playing Benoni Leningrad Dutch, if I can play b5 and chip away at his center, it could be good. Hopefully Troll will lose on time, as he usually does. But this looks like a really good position for white. He can play e5 even. Maybe trading the e5 pawn for this pawn. Like a Spassky closed Sicilian idea. Milan Kirai. I didn't see him. All right. We had a great donation from Clash Kid last night. Hopefully we'll play some better chess than this today. Castles queenside into the Benoni break. Nice. I like this. I like this a lot. We're going to go with the pawn sack here. Basically suicide. But it frees up some of our pieces and we might get some threats along the B file. My king is far from safe, obviously. No, he doesn't want any part in that. He played bishop d3. And now, knight b6 is interesting. Oh, but my knight is unprotected on b6. Ah. But he's not threatening anything immediately, so what can I do? Knight b7 is pretty awful. b4 closes it up, which I don't really want to do. Knight b6 allows him to take when I can't play c4. And then there's like knight b7, which doesn't do a whole lot of anything, but I don't know. He's got more time than me now. Come on. Knight b6 doesn't work. Bishop a7. Ridiculous looking move. But maybe it has some sense to it. How about rook b7? Just walking into knight a5. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing, but it's not good. Now he can probably even take on b5. Takes b5, c4, takes a6. Takes on b3 though. He's lining up on my king. My king is headed for d8. I guess I could play knight b6 now. Pawn takes pawn. Still a problem. About to lose on time. It's awkward, but yeah, this is really bad for me. That might even make it worse. I don't know, but I'm going to put my king on d8, I think, if he tries to come through on the e file. And my queen is cut off. That's the biggest problem here. What happens if pawn takes pawn? We're basically going to play c4, bishop takes a7, takes on b3, and try to win a piece with b4. It doesn't really work though. I'm just lost here. I mean, this has got to be lost for black. Maybe I should have played b4 or something ridiculous, but it gives me no counterplay. If I close up the queen side, he's just dominating the center. You should just take on b5. Pinned myself. So I'm going to try this, but it doesn't look right. No bad pieces. Knight b5, knight c5. Knight c5. Yeah, he's gonna kill me if I do that. What am I? I'm down 2 isolated pawns now. Double attack. This doesn't look very good for me. I'm just lost. Alright, he lost on time, of course. It's just totally winning. Just take it off and play like queen g1, threatening b4. I think it's lost. Anyway. Bishop takes c5, rook takes c5, something like, I thought queen g1. And it's just resignable for black. Really miserable game. Really, really miserable game. Maybe I shouldn't even play symmetrically, I don't know. Knight b3, knight e6, this is already like lost. This move, it's just minus 1.2 immediately for black. I thought my c5 pawn was unprotected, and so I was like reacting, but there's no need to play that move. I need that knight to protect b7 from the long diagonal. So I just blundered on move 2, basically. Troll yesterday said that his theory was that the first 3 moves were the most important in chess 960. I think there's something to that. There's absolutely something to that. So you have a really good point there, Troll, about chess 960 revolving around the first 3 moves. Yeah, it's like fate, basically. Fate has a larger hand in chess 960 than normal chess. Alright, guys. So, I don't know if we have any subscribers challenging. I mean, Soltigo is our moderator. Aldisto's former subscriber. Please subscribe and support the stream, guys. Let me go with Lousy Dirty Cheater. I know Soltigo usually likes me to wait for his challenges. Although maybe I'm going to take him next because it might be early in the morning. Maybe he needs to go to sleep. I don't know if you're waking up or going to bed now, Soltigo. So we'll take your challenge next. Lousy Dirty Cheater played knight c3, which is cool. We don't get many people who play the Dunst opening. I think we did have this once before, now that I think about it. Knight f3 on the second move. This is pretty rare, of course. Like a kind of Mexican, or what is it, 2 knights tango with colors reversed. Alright, knight f3. I don't want to transpose to some kind of, Mexican defense or 2 knights tango with c5. You could definitely play d4 if you're inclined. I don't really like changing the pawn structure to that. Though I don't face this often enough that I have something really worked out here. You could probably play a lot of things. Bishop g4 even might be a move. c6. However, I don't normally play c6 type of setups in the Verisov. If I play c6, d4, I kind of get transposed to something I wouldn't normally play. You're here for the full stream. You're on top of things. Knight f3, knight f6, and e3 will be like a 2 knights tango. You can also play d3. He's played this though, and this transposes back into something I'm more comfortable with. I mean, this is like a straight up Verisov of some variety. I definitely had a game where someone played e3 against me recently. The Rapport does stuff like that. I never really saw the appeal in it, but Jabava Rapport, they're playing the weird knight c3 stuff. This particular example, raises questions about pawn takes pawn. Pawn takes pawn, there's no knight b5 because of queen a5 check, so he has to take back with like a piece on d4, which looks sort of unnatural. It's basically what's it called, martial defense with colors reversed. Pawn takes pawn, knight takes pawn. Could also take with the queen. And then I guess we have a number of moves. Knight d7, which I played with colors reversed in such structures, and knight c6, which is more natural. This is a sort of threat. I mean, I can always play knight a6 anyways, but I don't. I try to have a policy where I never have to put a knight on a6 in the c3 Sicilian or other openings like this. You can't delete his nickname. Hey, Cyrix, thanks for the cheer. Can't delete his nickname. Who? What? Alright, I'm just going to develop my pieces. Greetings from Red Rock. Is that like in Arizona? Sedona. Where is Red Rock? My geography is bad. Knight c6. I don't know. I mean, he's a tempo up on a whatever it is, a martial defense kind of thing. I don't know what to classify this is. We'll just call it a weird Veresov. It's actually, yeah, it's a Veresov of sorts. Dunst, Veresov, they're all related. As I mentioned, I can go here, threatening e5, but that makes my pieces kind of tangled up. It's one thing when I'm white. I did that move with the white pieces in similar type of setup. But this is a much more natural square for the knight, of course. The only downside is that I end up like trading pieces, which might make it easier for white to like draw. Anyway. Can you play the French if you get a chance, please? Yeah, I tried to play the French at one point. It's probably my most infrequent opening. I never really play the French, but I don't mind. I probably should play it more often. I basically play everything else. There was a point around 1999 when I really started to make an effort to learn the French. And I think the last time I played it against anybody was against Hikaru, and I've told that story before. Alright, let's just develop my pieces here. Colorado in Spanish means color red. Have I recovered, says Nefidov. You're speaking about... Oh god, why did I play e6 again? Is e6 a good move? I guess it's alright. I'm a little concerned about it. Yeah, it's okay, because if he goes knight on c to b5, I have e5. For a second I was like... And I'm looking at like knight cb5, e5, knight takes c6, b takes c6, and he doesn't have a fork or anything. Bishop e4 is possible, but I'm not sure that doubling the pawns here would be catastrophic for white. He'd get a lot of play on the dark squares and stuff like that. This is actually a really badly placed piece. The biggest problem with white's entire opening, and I'm not sure that bishop b4, if we go to this extreme to trade it off, I'm essentially like getting rid of his worst piece for him. You know, I guess a lot of players might play like bishop d6. I think that black is fully equal here, but how can I get, you know, more than equal? That's the question. Bishop d7 is fine, unless knight b5 becomes a threat again. Let's see. Knight b5, knight b5, knight b5. I have e5. I always have e5 if knight b5, don't I? That's the important thing. Looks like a solid move. Have you been to every state in the US? Yeah, right. You never asked that in the past. I mean, if you did, I didn't notice. I mean, do you know what percentage of Americans have? There was an article on BBC about. The BBC seems surprised that like 10% of Americans have passports. I was kind of like, you didn't know that, like, you people? But, you know, I mean, you know, the UK is like in really close to, you know, the European Union. I mean, it's like not unusual to travel to other countries, but like the United States, basically the only countries you can travel to are like Canada and Mexico, and everyone is kind of, you know, unless you're wealthy, you're not traveling to foreign countries. I mean, most Americans don't even leave the United States. Okay, now let's talk about like traveling to other states. I've probably been to like half the states in the United States, which is pretty much for an American, I guess. But no, not all. I think that a lot of people never leave like, you know, a 3 or 4 state radius. Obviously, I'm living in a foreign country, but not too many people have been to all 50 states. There was a strange guy who he played in like chess tournaments in all 50 states, I remember. Robert Feldman. All right. He looked like he never took a shower. I guess that makes it cheaper if you never take a shower while you're on the road. All right, a3. Well, I mean, a3 doesn't do anything. I'm just going to develop my pieces here. Screw it. It's not a very ambitious setup for black. You did a 3-day road trip from Maine to Texas that went through 20 states. I mean, if I counted like going through states on the train and stuff, I guess that counts. Does it count if you're in airspace? Wow, Lousy Dirty Cheater's castling queenside. I mean, that's really kind of mental. All right, I'm welcoming the queenside castle. He could try a pawn storm on the other side, though. Jabava-esque, probably, like g4, g5. Really, that looks like the way. Yeah, there's h4. Okay, h4 is a little slower. Now, we have ideas. I'm not sure if it's enough. Looking for exchange sacrifices on c3, but it's not really going to quite work. I did have a game with somebody not that far in the past that was something like this, I remember. White's attack is a little bit scary, you know, the g4, g5. Only counts if you spent the night there. I've probably been to 20, maybe 25 states in the US. Hawaii and Alaska not. Everywhere on the East Coast. It only counts if you spend the night there. I haven't been to Georgia, of the states on the East Coast. Alright, g4. To call up Ben Feingold. He's now based in Atlanta, apparently. Queen b6 looks good. But it's also a little bit slow. What are we going to do? I have to do something fast here. A little worried about this. Okay, maybe we just don't panic and we let him, you know, we'll play like a Sicilian. Rook takes, and now he can meet the rook takes with pawn takes, but that's extremely scary for white. But he did, you know, he did save himself from that, the most dangerous threat there. Alright, I'm about to flag. Alright, whatever. I'm hardly going to play perfect moves. But his white square bishop going off the board is useful for me. I didn't really want to play knight e4, honestly, and let him take and have the pawn structure change up to this open file. I kind of like the structure the way it is here, where I've got the open C file and he doesn't have any open file, you know. Okay, I have the open C file feels like an open file. It's actually a half open file. It's juicy, you know, and the backward knight on C3 is always a welcome sight when you have a half open file. That's why in the Sicilian defense it's always such a problem for white. And now we're pretty well coordinated. Although that pawn was hanging last move, it would have opened up some threats for my opponent, probably. Just kidding, I'm not really threatening anything. Queen c5 is awkward. Maybe I should have just played like bishop e8, knight d7. 13 seconds left. Should probably just play h5 for white, because if g5 I could play knight h5 and hold up his whole kingside pawn advance. If he plays h5 first, I don't have that option. Yeah, that's probably best. Uh-oh, there goes the dark squares. I've got to be careful, but that closes the lines. So there's no open file to checkmate me. And then here we can bounce around to d7. Maybe even back to f8 if you know, that's probably not relevant. But my counterplay was a little bit slow. b5, b4, my queen got in the way. Into g7. But you're not going to checkmate me with your own bishop on g7. Not so easily. Just try not to lose on time. I could have just taken his knight, and I'm pretty slow on the uptake here. Tactically, I should have won a piece there. I always see it like a move later, but I'm always panicking about losing on time. Looks like a really good Scheveningen, where we've got a strong attack on the queen side. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he was okay at one point. Let me see. Computer analysis. Did white have enough play? e6. Yeah, e6 only played by Jorge Smetan in one game. I mean, it looks like the best move, actually. This is a really rare position. I mean, this guy, Velasco, played knight db5 here. That makes no sense at all. Black just plays e5, doesn't he? I don't understand. That's ridiculous. It's like 2300. It looks like I absolutely played the best in the opening. And then, I don't know. starts to look a little scary, his counterplay here. Apparently I did like best moves. Computer always liked my position. Alright. Looks good. Guys, we're streaming for another 2 hours here. What other European countries have I visited or trolling a roll? I've been to quite a few European countries. All right, Romania. Soltigo. Soltigo's up, but he said he's going to be here for the whole stream. Apparently no one ever traveled through America from north to south. I've only been to Venezuela in South America. I've never been anywhere else. Unfortunately, I'd like to go to like Argentina probably if I had the chance to go anywhere in South America. C4, C5. The question was for me, yeah. Yeah, I mean all the normal places. France, Germany, Spain. I've never been to the Netherlands, oddly, except in the airport. And I've been to Denmark. Was never in Belgium. I've been to Czech Republic. I've been through Slovakia, but I never stayed there. Let's see, I've obviously been to Austria. Vienna is right next door here. This opening, Seba Attila played against me a couple weeks ago. I've seen it twice. The Baltic countries, no. I've never been to Finland or Sweden. I've been to Norway. I've never been to Poland. So a lot of places in the northeast of Europe I've never been to. Yeah, not too much in that region. I went to Italy illegally. I went to like I went to Slovenia and I walked across the border illegally into Italy. The police like had to like send me back in Novogorica. Croatia I've been to. There's a lot of places I haven't been. Like half of Europe I've been to and half of Europe I've not been to. I've never been to Greece. Night A3. Traveling is fun, but you have to be free. All right, D6. What's going on here with my bishop on C8? Bishop G4. Yeah, Soltigo creates complications pretty early on. Have I tried mountain skiing? I never tried skiing even in the United States. I mean, there's a lot of skiing in the United States, you have to know. Not just in Europe, but I never even went skiing. Like other little kids went skiing with their families sometimes from my school, like for example. And my family was never into skiing, so I had no knowledge of the sport whatsoever. When I was a little kid, there were always like a couple friends who, they went skiing in the mountains in Pennsylvania or something, and just never learned to do it. It's also expensive, I guess. A sport for the rich, in a sense. Knight G2. Are we going to go here and play H6? I think H6 is a good idea. Breaking on that pawn on G5. Showing it up as overextended. In Boston, there's no mountains, It's a lot of like sailing on the water and stuff. You can go, you know, sailing. You can do rowing on the river in the polluted water. It's better now. But no skiing in of course in your neck of the woods in Maine and New Hampshire. I mean, they have skiing, right? Vermont. S for all. Thank you for subscribing. Got the bishop on g4. It's really just kind of probing the situation. I don't know that I want to trade it off necessarily. I guess I'm just trying to induce him to like weaken himself and at the same time discourage him from playing d4. Well, actually, it doesn't stop him from playing d4. Maybe, you know, he should think about playing d4. But now he has a problem with the g5 pawn. And structurally, this is a very small advantage, but we can really use it to our benefit. Completing development, maybe we'll castle queenside. Yeah. Oh, 93. I think at this point he's just losing a pawn, but he probably has some tricky ideas. And he gets the bishop, which is a powerful piece, I admit. But I'm not really sold on this for white, you know, that this is objectively sound. Bishop g4, rook h1 check looks unpleasant. Yeah. But now it's knight d4. Not the end of the world though. He has queen e4. But I'm just up a clear pawn here. It looks like nice structure, clear pawn up. Objectively winning. I have knight e6 and then revolving through d4. Soltigo, as usual, he's a little too creative. You've done it all. Skiing, sailing, kayaking. Under the influence of vodka. All right, no, just kidding. Don't use alcohol while operating skis. Okay, queen e4. Castling queenside looks kind of cool. But knight d5, The knight d5 is kind of nasty. I don't think I want to see that. I like the queen on e4, man. I mean, that is like straight out of an Accelerated Dragon, Marazzi, like Petrosian used to play with his queen on e5. It's oddly actually a good square for the queen. It's not that exposed. It's hard for me to attack it. Total Accelerated Dragon square, usually with black. Queen on e5. It looks like one of those. Yeah, I had a friend he had a boat and he used to sail. He was a chess player, like an amateur, a good blitz player. We called him Master Cliff. I don't know whatever happened to him. All right, rook on g to e6. Oh no, he finds the move. Take him down to structure land. How does this work again? Take him downtown. So, wait a minute, what's going on here? I mean, first of all, I could probably play rook h1 and take his rook on a1. I think that's a good place to start. Yeah, he didn't like that. But this way is also pawn takes, queen takes check. Oddly enough, I think I can play king f8. Maybe not. He has some weird perpetual. Pawn takes, queen takes, king f8. Queen f5 check, king g8, queen h4 check, queen g4 check, king h8. It's pretty funny. Then he's some demented, maybe he has some demented resource, like sacking his rook on h1, a1 or something. If I take, he checks. I have to play king d8, and then he plays queen g8. I guess that's the best thing to do. I'll just give him the knight on e8. I mean, I'm just up the exchange here. You can have the knight, whatever that is, e6. You can have the knight on e6. Actually, it's not so easy to win. Shit, he has 2 pawns for the exchange. No, 1 pawn. No, it's good. It's probably good enough. Unless I can trap his queen on a8, which is not happening. We'll give you that. We'll give you that knight. What are you hesitating for? You have to do it. Alright, come on. Take my knight. I'll put my king on c7. This is actually kind of dangerous for me. Because the knight's going to be coming to like d5 down the line. Soltigo loves to play crazy, unsound sacrifices. Can I castle here? We're just gonna crawl out. King, oh, he can castle. Okay. I guess I'll play e6 if necessary to defend the d5 square, and we're just winning. He goes back to the e4 outpost. Why there? Should stay on the e4. That's better. I'm not really sure how to finish him off here. Not so easy. You actually made a strange move in the sense that I thought your knight was heading for that square. So I don't know what he's trying to do. Like play d4. Seems pretty odd. But where should I put my rook under the circumstances? He's trying to play d4, I guess. Maybe I should play e5. I don't know if this is really a good move. I mean, it makes my pawns kind of fixed. And his knight might be a tough blockader. Not anymore. Alright. That's not looking healthy for white. Can't afford to lose any more material. I think he had much better ways to defend that. You know, a kind of locked structure with a knight against rook. It could have been tough for me to break through if Soltigo sets up a kind of fortress there, but this doesn't look very good. That is not healthy. No, how bad is it, I wonder, you know, after you give up the exchange? What? He can't take the rook? What am I missing here? This was a little better than what I did. Wow. Plus 16 for black. I'm down a pawn and it's plus 16. Oh man, that's pretty nasty. I joked about like trapping the queen on a8, but this is another dimension. I just go here, he castles queenside, and then I guess he gets like brutally mated. I have to admit, this just completely escaped me. Wow, that's a massive advantage. Plus 50. D3, rook takes F1. I like this variation the best. There's the queen. He's just silent. She's just silent on A8. That's pretty nasty. King B2, and you're just losing everything. All right. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend that opening again. Aculian is a tough player. Knight D8. When did I have Knight D8? No, it's not Knight D8. I just made him. Yeah, well, you guys see the variation now. I didn't even consider, you know, sacking the rook outright, you know, without trapping the queen somehow. Aculian is pretty strong. Everybody has these 1500 ratings because of the change to rapid, the integration of the rapid rating system. Aculian's rating is actually 2315 blitz, 2357 bullet. It's weird that he doesn't have any classical. Wow. Alright, let's play Karo Khan. I guess I've played this against him before, but I always played the normal line. I started to try to play the GF Karo a little bit. Let's try this for something different. I don't know the theory too well in this line, so I kind of just make it up. I think I knew a little bit 25, 30 years ago, but I haven't seriously played this with black since I was like 2100. There was a few games. Actually, it's odd that a lot of people like playing that move. Actually, yesterday, Nefedov played bishop c4 against me, which can transpose. I said Karpov Miles is this position. Silent chat is the best chat. I guess depends on who you're talking to. Friday, guys, it's great. I'm a little bit better. I still think I'm not 100%, but pretty much everyone has been sick that I know. Here in Hungary, it's like the worst, like, I think for germs and like viruses and stuff, the temperature is always like just above freezing. It's never actually freezing. There's no snow. It's just always like this murky, cold but not that cold. And I think that's why everybody has like illnesses and stuff. If it's really cold, then people are actually more healthy. Here, I don't know if I'm supposed to play like e6. I don't remember. Like theory, actually bishop f4, there's not a lot of theory on this move. I mean, it's not really a main line. Aculian doesn't seem to know the book. Tripled pawns. But a lot of people, like yesterday against Nefedov, wander into these structures where white's actually a little worse because he or she has a lot of pawns on dark squares and a dark squared bishop. And I think in the ending, you know, I was trying to grind Nefedov yesterday. I couldn't beat him, but I was clearly better. They're just, it's just much better for black with the white square weaknesses for white. So bishop g3, that's a tough nut to crack. You know, that kills any kind of play along the g file. So I think we're just going to have to take what we can get here. Queen b5 is always an idea. But objectively... Now, what about f5? That's an interesting move. If my pawn structure was to transfer, I'd probably get a little overextended there. Like f5, take, knight d2, f5 again, and then he can break me with like f3, pawn takes pawn, and I have a kind of backward structure. I think it's weak. c5, though. c5 may be my only chance to play it is now, but it's also kind of risky in a way to play c5. He's better mobilized if the position opens up. His rooks are connected. I'm not fully developed here, so I think I have to wait. Have to wait and see. And I'm not sure I want to castle queenside. There is another way to play the position, I guess. It's a break that I don't always do. Computer, oftentimes wants to play e5 in these lines, but the problem is I don't really feel good about a knight getting into like f5 or something like that. So e5 is often very positionally double-edged and dangerous for black. I don't know. I feel like my king is a little bit uncomfortable here if the c file opens up, or if he has to do like some pawn storm on the queen side. But as it stands right now, I mean, it looks like e5 would be a pretty freeing move because his king is on e2. I have tactics along the e file. I thought this is appropriate. It's going to be in the mid-40s today, Soltigo. Yeah, well, you guys have been in a deep freeze. It's always like 40 degrees here. It's like I've been here for 14 years for the most part, and I mean, although I travel back to the US a lot in the summer, I mean, there's been one snowstorm in Hungary in like the last 13 years, I think. It's crazy. I mean, I always thought it was like a temperate climate, but it just doesn't snow, I mean, there's no real winter. It's just kind of this mushy, cold but not freezing. So he played rook e1. e5. I don't know. I'm just not that convinced by this for me. Rook g8, just a general principles move. And now where to put my bishop? Maybe f5. I can play f5, I guess. It's again about putting my stuff on the right color. So instead of making a break with c5 and e5, I decided just to kind of play for the right colored bishop and all that jazz. Bishop h4, rook e8 might not be that bad for him, actually. He'll have to play with bishop on h4 forever there, but maybe that's not a bad thing. If he plays like bishop h4 and then g3, it's just, there's no going back, with the bishop on h4. It might get stuck out there forever. Bishop e7, I was thinking. I mean, if I ever play knight f6, he's going to play like knight e5. I have to be super, super careful about this knight getting in. But Akulian is really solid. His style is safe first and foremost, from what I've seen. We had a couple draws. For some reason, I think I always play the Caro-Kann against him. I think this is like the second or third time. We had a simul game, which was a Caro, which was a draw, I think. And then another blitz game that might have been a Caro-Kann too. Maybe I'm wrong, though. Alright, he's just going to trade pieces now. And so this ending, white has a bit more space with the d4 pawn, but black has the better, color complex for the pawns. But I don't think it's a big deal. I mean, it looks like a draw, probably. His bishop isn't that bad. It's actually quite an active bad bishop. So I think that it's a much better position than Nefedov had against me. This is Nefedov was clearly in trouble yesterday. This is more like equal. I mean, I guess we could think about what to do here. Trying to play actively, like rook g4. I don't want to give away all my secrets of what I'm thinking in this position against a pretty strong player, but I have my reasons for going here. I mean, of course we can double on the g file, and sometimes there's like f4, h4, h5, h4. It's just an active move. I mean, it looks stupid because he can play f3, but maybe there's a justification to that. I just didn't want to see him like lift the rook over here to h3. So actually, I kind of wanted to induce him to play f3, but I'm not sure that it's the best move. Just that my h-pawn is isolated, so you know this could be kind of annoying if he has a rook on h3. It's probably not a big deal though. I could have played like h5, h4. I don't like getting my bishop on the same color as the pawns. Now c5 isn't good. We can always trade bishops. It is a strong bishop on f4. Relatively strong bishop. This ending is approximately equal. His king's a little closer to the center than mine, or we about the same. Maybe b5 even. It's a little risky. This bishop is really strong. And the ending is equal. It should be about equal. So I have to be energetic here. I still have never been able to achieve c5. I'm not sure if he's done that intentionally or that's just the way the game went down, but it almost, you know, has felt like he's been intentionally shutting down my ability to play c5. Never letting me play the freeing move in the center. Pretty much the whole game. I've never been able to achieve that. And now h3. Yes, Soltigo, in our game, I thought, you know, you still have fortress chances with knight against rook if you play your cards right. I didn't like queen e3. Like, why not put your queen back on e4? That was a good square in the first place. And then you can even put the knight on e3. I still think this is basically equal. Am I threatening c5 maybe? No. I'm still not threatening anything. I don't have c5. Now I can do c5. I'm not sure if it's even good or not, but I don't think I want like a king and pawn endgame here. With that messed up king side. King here? That's dangerous, like b3, king takes pawn, rook c5, check, king b2, rook c7, king takes a2, rook takes pawn, king takes pawn. I don't know. Why did I go c6 rather than d6? Yeah, I think there was a reason why I did that. Alright, it doesn't really matter, does it? What's actually going on here? The file? Man, I'm feeling a little uncomfortable. Maybe I need to play like f4. That's like losing a pawn right away. I'm gonna stay in the center. I think that he's a little bit better now. I'm not sure about f4. I guess it's not a bad move though. Moving my king away from the center. I mean, the d file is the thing that makes me a little bit worried here. But I guess I can play f6 and e5 if I'm given the chance to do it. He has the outside pawn majority, 3 against 2. I would definitely agree to a draw here. But I don't, like offering draws when I'm a tiny bit worse. I think it's kind of bad etiquette. But you can do it if there's some mitigating circumstance, like your opponent seems like he's unhappy, or e5. That's what I'm here for. Yeah, now we're fine. Now we're not worse anymore. I mean, he could even lose this. It's an aggressive move, but I think it's my only aggressive plan here. Yeah, probably the best try. Oh no. I just blundered. Oh god. Is this lost? Is this definitely lost? It's definitely lost, right? It's got to be lost. Yeah. Well, he managed to mess it up. Oh my god. That's terrible for both of us. You had a win there right at the end. Like here, just c6. Maybe it's not a win. Oh, it's not a win. I just go king here. My bad. Let me see. Mate in 6. Yeah, you are winning, of course. Mate in 6. Still winning. This is a blunder. So king d7. Yeah, here. Right. I can go king b8 here. If it's your move, it's a draw, I guess. No, even then it doesn't matter, right? You can just play king d8. Ah, it's just winning. Terrible, terrible. I make this horrible move here, e3. I was really short of time, but so was he. It was all good, and then I blundered with e3. And now I'm lost. Maybe I'm lost. Maybe not. Let me see. Here, e3. My plan was to go here, and then I realized he's getting in front. So I have to play king f4 first. This is... I just completely missed it. My original plan was to play king d4. And I guess this is like a draw. I don't know why I changed my mind at the last minute. I was going to play king d4, and then I was like, no, I'll do e3 first. It's the same thing, you know, but it's not. I have to play king... I have to play king d4 as a draw. Why is this a draw? Yeah, he's too fast. He's queening as well. Here, g6. So that's a draw apparently, and then king f4 is winning, which I didn't see at all. I guess it's winning. King g2, king takes g4. Maybe he has a draw here. He can push those pawns up on the queen side. Let's see, king f2, king f4. Yeah, maybe this is a draw. It's interesting. King e2, e3. Why can't he push his pawns up? This is just lost. Tragic king and pawn endgame. Badly played by both of us. Good king and pawn endgame technique by both sides. Aura Knight. Ayesta is a subscriber or not? If Ayesta is a subscriber, I should play him first. Alright. Let me know, Ayesta, if you're subscribed. Aura Knight. Lots of strong players. I should play another Karo Khan. Endgames, yeah, I mean, one mistake and you're done. You know, I mean, there's no room for mistakes in endgames. It's not like the middle game where it's so complicated that you can afford to make a mistake. No, I mean, the sad part was that I was going to play king d4, you know, and then I play like this horrible e3. It's one thing to miss the winning move, to actually play a losing move. I guess I can be forgiven, but for a title player, to mess up a pretty simple king and pawn endgame is pretty embarrassing. But when you have 10 seconds, the mind does, like Aculian said, the mind does funny things. I hallucinated, you know, that he couldn't stop the e-pawn. I thought it was going to be the same as the other variation with king d4. Long story short, I thought, you know, maybe his pawn runs and my pawn runs, but I queen first. I didn't see king f4 at all, though. This is interesting. I don't think I've ever faced that move that I can recall. It's kind of like playing h3 against the Najdorf. It shouldn't be quite as good. Knight c6 is a more like centrally controlling move than a6. So these slow moves are oftentimes not as good. It's got to be fully playable. I'm sure there's games with this. Oddly enough, I never ever looked at it. G6 transposes some kind of dragon where h3 is standard. And what else can I do? The Scheveningen. I mean, you'll have a juiced up position with a Kiri's attack. Gufeld played a Kiri's attack against me with like an h3, bishop g2 kind of thing. Yeah, it makes you wonder about d5. That doesn't look right. I think for me, I mean, playing g6 is probably the most logical, because I do the classical dragon a lot. And it can transpose to an accelerated dragon. h3 is a normal line. I even played that line against the dragon myself a few times with white. bishop c4 and h3, just against the normal dragon. I think Soltis wrote an article about that for Chess Life like 25 years ago. h5 is not a ridiculous move. It looks ridiculous, like at this juncture. It's very early, but you don't have to like be terrified of g4. We'll see what white's going to do here. I did play h5 in a similar situation in another game Tuesday, this past Tuesday against Nefedov. I played an h5 to stop g4. Or maybe it was different. I think in that game it was like f3 and h4 where I played h5. I'm not castled kingside yet, so I don't have to commit myself to that. I mean, that's one thing. Wow, I just pre-moved. I'm lucky he didn't like capture on c6 or something. But this will transpose to a main line of accelerated dragon if he plays castles kingside. Yeah. This is absolutely standard position now. I lost to Ian Rogers in this line and some game in the New York Open. But I've also played with white. I mean, okay, there's a million games. This is very standard. I mean, rook e1 is another move. That's positional line. F4 is the main line. No, actually bishop b3. We would normally be playing bishop b3 first. Interesting question here, though. I mean, maybe white has sort of gotten away with something, because if he doesn't have to play bishop b3, he might not play it, and that might save him a tempo. Yeah, bishop b3 would transpose to the normal position. Of course, I can play rook c8. But I don't have any tricks with knight takes e4 and d5, which would be like the normal reason. The normal reason why white has to play bishop b3 in the main lines of this opening. Queen e2 now. d2. This is not quite really a theoretical line. I mean, I don't know. He hasn't played bishop b3. It's a little different than the normal. I'm sure that we can find a few games where this position has arisen, but I don't know any theory about it, and I've never studied any games in this exact position. Queen a5. Queen a5. The thing is, he can play knight to b3, but then I can play like queen h5. But it's a really strange position, because then he could even do like bishop e2. So it doesn't seem appropriate, because he hasn't played bishop b3. Queen a5 doesn't seem appropriate. And we can do the lame a6, for example. I don't know. I'm just going to make a natural developing move. But I'm most comfortable playing setups with queen a5 in the accelerated dragon. I always feel like a6 is kind of like a lame move that just kind of doesn't do anything and weakens the structure. Whereas rook c8 develops a piece. Take the knight. You can definitely take the knight on d4. I mean, I could do that. Knight takes d4. You know what? That's probably the safest line. Yeah, I mean, if I was playing like a 2700, I would probably play knight takes d4, bishop takes d4, bishop c6. Yeah. Rook c8 is a bit more complicated. I agree. Knight takes d4, bishop takes d4, bishop c6, and actually, he might have a problem there. I'm not sure. I'm threatening to play knight takes d4, however, in that line. You know, knight takes e4, bishop takes d4, bishop c6. I might not be threatening knight takes e4 because of knight takes e4, bishop takes e4, bishop takes g7, king takes g7, queen d4 check, winning my bishop on e4. I had a game with Shamco that was like involving those tactics, you know, and you can't actually take the pawn on e4. And then I don't know what to do. Classical dragon now, knight b3, knight e5, or what? My pawn on a7 is an annoyance. I think here, this is a normal move, but now what? You know, I'm walking into f4. Rook takes c3 isn't really justified. I mean, unless I damage the structure or something like that. So I think we can just do like knight c4, take, and play this position when it's probably equal. Anytime he takes this pawn, it's always some traps with b6. Usually threatening b6, queen c7 type of stuff. Too dangerous to take this. Yeah, f3. And now, yeah, again, you know, he's kind of softened up his king side. I mean, I never like, with white, I never want to play h3 and f3 in the King's Indian or the dragon, but it's not that easy to exploit. Exchange sacrifices on c3, you know, could be possible, but once again, I'm not sure. In this case, I just don't have that much. Maybe it's better to play a6 and b5, I don't know. It's hard to decide. He's just defending. I really like to get in d5 somehow, but I don't know how to achieve it. The b6 gives me a5, a4, and that could actually be useful on that knight at some point. Alright, I'm just gonna have to play, you know, on intuition, I guess. My rook is not trapped, hopefully. But it could be. It could get trapped very easily. And he's closing down the queen side, so he can start to hunt for some kind of king side threats. I don't know, bishop h6 and knight f4, g4. I'd like to play queen b7 and play for d5 one way or another. But I mean, the real question becomes like, was b6 a good move, or should I have been playing b5 all the way, you know, to just like minority attack the queen side? I don't know. Not a lot of tactics around here. Now my rook is awkward, but I was headed for this square anyway all along. The queen patrols the white squares, and then my rook is free to move back. We can still do the minority attack with b5, just the move down, but it's probably not a big deal here, and everything's harmonious. I mean, I don't think I have any piece sacrifices or anything like that. You've got to keep your radar turned on, but I might have e5, d5 now as a threat. This actually may be on. Vastly changing the pawn structure, but it's really a thematic. It's a thematic move. It's not forced though. We could, like I said, do b5 with a minority attack on the queen side and not touch d5. Now d5, e5. But I have to do e5, which would block my bishop. E5, knight somewhere, d5, breaking his center, and then pawn takes pawn. I mean, it seems like it's the right idea. One of the right ideas I can play anyway. And we destroyed the e4 pawn. But it's still, like, white's okay, I guess. You can also trade queens here, but I think it's a coin flip, more or less. What's the best move? I don't know. Black's a little better now. Maybe I have e4. But I have to trade pieces, unfortunately. And we're looking pretty active here. The a2 pawn may be hanging. And we can actually think about going after his d file, chasing his queen around. There's queen a6. He just hung the pawn on a2. That's a bit materialistic, but definitely, you know, good enough. f5 at some point. I don't know if I should have done that, but probably not a bad move. Maybe that wasn't even a good move. I'm not sure, but we're winning. I mean, we're a pawn up with the bishop pair in a very good position here. So it's pretty much dream situation. And then I guess e4. Protected passer, we're going to hack that off. That's gone. Very, very annoying guy there. I don't want to mess with. It's just a technical ending now, which is extremely good for black. Probably winning, but life is never that easy, is it? He's getting a little bit of counterplay. It's kind of hard to deal with that. Stupid blockader on e3. It's kind of like my game with my last game in the Caro-Kann. Where the bad bishop had to be exchanged for the good bishop. I don't know what's going on here. Okay, now we have simplifying threats. Step by step. This e-pawn is absolutely crushing. Let's hope that e3 was right this time. We get our king to like f3. Now b2's hanging as well, so it's just, yeah, it's lost. All right, pretty consistent game. In the opening, anyway, I'll check the opening. Interesting line. I don't know. This isn't very common. Elvis Halifman. Yeah, so there are some games. I'm not surprised. Bishop e3 is a transpositional move, but I'm not sure like white needs to play that, you know. The engine's actually calling for bishop e3, but I don't see anything wrong with this. It was played by Naumann. But yeah, this is the best. Knight takes c6. Bishop takes d4, bishop c6. That's probably the easiest way to, you know, quote unquote equalize. It looks like b5 though is that is another line, or very similar to another line. This may even be a better way for black. It just equalizes immediately. A line of the actual dragon. Okay, I can play a5. Yeah, this is a really clean way for black to equalize, it looks like. Though after a3, I don't know what we do. Not that simple, maybe. Bishop c6. But it's a pretty good version for black. All right, let's go back to the challenges here. Totally not Luca. This is a new opponent. All right, welcome you guys who are new. A lot of the players are people who I've played, you know, many occasions. But it's nice to get some new players, and this player is 2200. So that's cool. I've got I was supposed to play Ayesta first. Sorry, Ayesta, I forgot. We had a subscriber. We'll get you next game. Yeah, that's cool. Let's ban this guy from lichess. But I can't. Let's open this in new window and ban him from lichess. Report him to moderators. He's insult. He's insulting me, dude. He's insulting me, dude. He's insulting me. All right, have fun with your new account. All right, where's the mate here? Queen d8. I need new glasses. All right, we'll block him and we'll go back to our game here. Where is our game? All right, sorry for the delay. We've got to ban him. Milan Kirai Ayesta is next, and Nabil Hassan. So totally not Luca. In Hungarian it would be Luca, but usually it's Luca. You've already reported him, and he's already been banned from the Twitch stream. I think it's the same guy, this like really demented individual who's trolled my stream for like 2 years. I guess he trolls other people too, because occasionally he'll show up with like a weird name, like, I don't know, you know, insulting some other streamer or something like that, but you just can't, you know, can't get rid of them all. Bishop g5. We just can't have people running around with lichess names directly insulting people, you know, that's really pushing the envelope. And if I didn't report him, maybe nobody would really think about it, because he's not like playing on the lichess TV or something. Okay, bishop g5 is a variation that I played, the so-called Smyslov system. I started playing this basically like 20 years ago, because Golko played it against me, and I found it difficult for black because unlike the main lines of the classical King's Indian and other lines, it's not very forcing, and it gives black a wide variety of ways he could possibly play. But the majority of players, you know, they don't really have a really concrete setup. Now this bishop f5 is quite unusual. What should I do about it? We could try to play queen b3 and exploit the b7 pawn. think I've probably done that on one occasion or two. Anthony Miles would do something like bishop d3 and just trade pieces. But objectively, you know, I think it's... I faced this. We definitely had a game like this once. Come to think of it. Maybe b6 is the best move in this circumstance. My queen is not really well placed on b3. I was sitting there thinking, like, what did the last guy do when I played queen b3 against them? And they just did that. Okay, it's fine. It's not terrible for white, but I don't think the queen b3 really does anything. Okay, no, I think you should play c5 there, probably. But okay, this is still not so bad for black. But objectively, I thought going to a Benoni and trying to play knight c6, probably black's best. Queen b3, just not a useful move in the Benoni type of structure. Here, it might be a little more useful. But after c5, I think the queen on b3 is pretty misplaced. All right, guys. Sorry, I had to mute the stream. I'm in the last throes of this cold, but still not quite cured. Pro with the Twitch. What? It's some pro with a new account. A pro? Who are you guys talking about? Totally not Lutza. He's a strong. I mean, you know, amateur. 2200. I'm like a amateur too, in a way. Bishop e6. All right. Bishop e6. Yeah, this seems inconsistent. I wanted to move my queen anyway. You could probably put the queen on a3, but I mean that oftentimes is bad. I usually put my queen on c2. He could actually go back to f5 here. A funny tactic, like e4, knight takes e4, knight takes e4, d5. Now he's playing this. Well, it's more like a Slav. Okay. Am I afraid of d takes c4? I don't know. It's a good question. You know, does it seem like he can do that? Maybe knight e5 here. Interesting. Knight e5, he takes anyway, and then I can take with a knight on c4. But if knight e5, he can go back to f5, then I go back to b3, and we're just playing this. Alright, let's try it. I mean, it's a move, whatever. We're like a Queen's Gambit Slav than a King's Indian now. Blazing Heart for you said a knight move calls. I guess he was thinking what I was thinking. Here we go again. Back to the square I love so much. On b3. But my point is that if we're going to play a structure where black has a pawn on d5, then I think the queen on b3 is okay. If we're going to play a Benoni where he's playing with like a c5 type of structure, that's what I was talking about. There I think the queen is kind of badly placed. That's why I really thought like after b6, Lucas should just play c5. That's the way the other game that I had a few months ago, which went bishop f5, queen b3, b6 continued. I don't think that queen b3 is a good move in general. I should definitely find something different, you know. What it is, good question. But I think this is an obscure variation, this bishop f5, and it's not a bad move. I mean, you see it normally later. Normally black plays c5 and then will later do bishop f5. But I guess there's nothing wrong with it. White has to be better here, but he's threatening f6 and knight takes g5, so there's no time to mess around with f6 in the works. Bishop h4 or bishop f4? That's the million-dollar question. I guess we could theoretically take on d5, and obviously you can play f3. f3, bishop f5. Does that really... Okay, let's do it. I don't know. There's just too many questions and not enough answers around here. He could even play f6. I just evaluated that as kind of unclear. Now I can do pawn takes pawn, and I thought... I mean, I don't know why, though. It's simpler than other continuations. Now, I don't know where to put the bishop. Maybe we put it on f4, but the problem at f4 is that it can get hit by e5 with tempo, so it's maybe a little safer on h4. Difficult to make these judgments with very little time. It's also keeping pressure on e7, you know, and f6 is complicated because it does weaken him on the a2 g8 diagonal. Superficially, white seems a little bit better, but I'm not that confident that it's necessarily the case. Although obviously having played b6 on the queen side in this kind of exchange Slav now, that's what it is. It's turned into an exchange Slav. You know, b6 weakens his queen side, you can see pretty significantly. He almost has to play f6 to get my knight off of e5, but then knight d3, and the knight is still harassing him, and I'm threatening e4 or knight f4 in some positions. But that's got to be the best. f6, knight d3, knight c6, and then something like rook fc1. And he's got problems because he can't play rook c8. He'll have to go knight a5. I have to watch out for that. Knight a5 is going to be a really, really nasty move to deal with. Because, yeah, we've got no time. I can't play rook c1 as I was talking about. The rook c1 is going to be met by a very brutal knight a5 type of thing. We have e4, but it doesn't really do anything. Knight g4 is not an option. I guess we just have to play this here. I have knight b4 with a equal position, forcing an exchange of knights. What else can I do? Knight f4. Knight f4. g5 is unfortunate. I don't know. No, I don't see anything better than trading this off, and now I don't have any real advantage. I was about to run out of time. I don't think that white is worse, but I don't think that I'm better either. Now, which rook to go with here? I've got to be careful because of my pawn, you know, on f2 as well. Oh, this is a strong move. Queen d7, simply maybe g4. I don't know what to do. But it looks equal to me. Bishop f8 though. That's Not too subtle. Can we trap his queen? Man. Can't trap his queen. I have e4. I'm not sure it's even good though. 2189 in blitz, 2258 in bullet. He's got an answer for everything. What do we got? Anything here? Oh, man. Keeps coming up with some kind of move. It's equal. I don't know if this is even good or not. Symmetrical. It's totally symmetrical now. It's crazy. Just a draw. Alright. No, it's just a draw. So, yeah, I mean, black played pretty well. That was a good game. I don't know, I was better, but never anything like decisive that I could see. Has anyone ever played bishop f5 before? Yeah, apparently it's been played. So I was talking about Miles and bishop d3. I mean, yeah, that's the move that it looks like the majority of players played. I just don't see why it's so appealing, you know, just trading a piece with white. Look at the guys who lost. Van der Sterren, Jacobian lost with white. I don't know. It looks like nobody else played queen b3. You could just play knight bd7. This is an even better move, maybe. Or even just c5 right away. Because queen takes b7 and then sacking a pawn with good play. I'm just, yeah, queen b3 is just not good. Just not good. Alright guys, good game. Ayesta. Your messages didn't appear for 3 times. On lichess or on Twitch? Nabil Hassan. We were much better, but I missed all my chances in that game. But the opening is not good. Queen b3 is the second time I've done that. Stupid idea. Alright, Ayesta. An interesting game though. I didn't really get much finally. Alright. I guess it's been a while since we played the Lopez. The Berlin defense, I don't want any part in that. We've played this variation numerous times, not recently. Okay, bishop c5. There are old games with bishop takes c6. I think Chigorin did that. So, yeah, we transpose sometimes to the whirl variation, but you can't transpose to the whirl unless black plays a6. I guess I'll hang out here and play c3. We've definitely played this before. Most commonly, top players are playing d3, you know, to avoid the Berlin defense. But queen e2 isn't bad. It's your university identification code. I hope that's not like sensitive personal identity material. All right. So c3. We've got challenges from Milan Kirai and s4. You cancel your challenge by mistake. Okay. That's Nabil Kassan, right? You were there. I remember. So now castles. We've been here before. He's just defending his e5 pawn. But in many cases, black can actually sacrifice that guy. Now, after that move, I mean, it's kind of like, well, the plans with rook d1 and d4, like in the world variation, don't seem even conceivable. You know, there's like no way I'm going to be able to play d4 and get annihilated on e4. So I have to dismiss any kind of plan involving playing for d4 after rook e8 and go back into kind of like a Joko piano type of thing. I mean, I guess you could consider bishop c4. That seems kind of strange, though. d3 is absolutely the normal move. I don't like facing off my queen against a rook on e8. That's obviously a danger. And if our queen was on d1 and our rook was on e1, we'd have like a totally normal anti-Berlin, or whatever this is, d3 Berlin. But with the queen on e2, it's a bit weird. Not a lot of plans, really. I mean, maybe I could try to throw in b4 at some point and do a Caruana like knight a3 maneuver. Knight d2 is standard. Bishop g5 might be an idea here. I'm not sure if it's a big deal, though. My voice is still a little bit not right. S4 is a subscriber. Oh yeah, I forgot. Now you've explained it. Okay, S4 then will be next, and I've got to play. Wow, now the d5 square is a real talking point, isn't it? I mean, that's so important in the Sicilian, and any kind of e4 e5 opening, any kind of e4 openings, really. It seems like, well, not the French, but dark square pawn chain openings. Okay, so the Sicilian, Najdorf, the Sveshnikov, and the Roy Lopez are all openings where d5, you know, becomes really, really key. So I'm thinking about bishop g5 in order to fight for that square. The thing is, I mean, I'm threatening bishop takes f6 directly, right? He almost has to play bishop e6, but that drops a pawn, maybe. So it's kind of weird. I mean, how does he keep it all tied together in this position? He can exchange on e4, and that's going to start looking like, yeah, that's looking like some kind of classic game. I mean, where the square becomes very, very vital, and if that falls, white can get a big positional advantage. Now bishop d7 is okay. This queen will come to e7, I guess. It could go to c8 maybe. Now he has tactics based on knight d4. I have to watch out for that. That's really nasty. Knight d4 discoveries. So maybe we resurface here with, okay, rook d1. What am I talking about? Okay, never mind. He doesn't have knight d4. I'm out of my mind. I'm thinking like his queen is on e8 or something. That's a tactical idea. He doesn't have that. No, okay. I'm crazy. Alright, there's no knight to d4. Sorry for you guys who are like, what is he talking about? I'm thinking that there's a queen on e8. Our bishop is adequately protected for the moment, and it will come back, I guess, to d3 if I have to, you know, face a6 or something. I guess I could put it on c4. I know, you know, a lot of people will try to induce black to put a knight on a5, for example. I mean, maybe this is actually better. If he does a6, bishop c4, if knight a5, good, put your knight on the side of the board. Probably best for me. But he does have a6, b5. And I'm not sure, you know, I want to induce him to play b5. I also have bishop d5 there, though. Alright, I don't know. I just have to make a decision. Time pressure too often here. So S4 is next. He's a subscriber. And then Nabil again, Milan Kirai. And we're definitely going to play all three of those games. I think that'll wrap it up for today. I hope I can play all three. 7+3. And Nabil's challenge is faster. We'll try to get all three games in. Sol. S for all. Otherwise known as Sol. Okay, Queen e7 and maybe b4 isn't a bad move. You could argue this weakens the queen side, and I guess you might be right. But I've got to do something. a4. Let's go whole hog. Rubinstein. Very nice, sir. Very nice idea. Knight h4. Knight h4 is kind of a nice move. Trying to take advantage of the tactical possibilities presented by this position. He kicks my bishop out with h6, for example. Knight e6 walks into knight f5. And I think we're threatening just knight f5. Bishop takes f5. But here his queen gets trapped. It's kind of a dirty trick. Rotten dirty cheater. It's a semi-Slav type of idea. So we're just going to win this based on material. What's the best way to go about it? My knight needs a good plan. I'll probably have to play f3, but we're up 2 pieces for a queen. I'm gonna have to play either takes on e6 or g3. Not that easy to win, as it might seem. This will give me some chances for c4 square, an alternate path for the knight. But I think that Ayeste he's not obligated to resign. I mean, he's got 2 pieces for the queen. I would play on against the weaker player, for sure. Okay, bishop e6. Trading pieces generally helps me, but now my knight's going to be in a kind of bad square. Not so easy. Maybe I need to get in h3, king g2. Move my king anyway. I guess I won't have time though. Well, king g2, and yeah, he's not going to let me. Now I have to play this. I guess we'll play rook h1 and h3 if nothing else. I have queen e3. Still not that easy to get rid of him. I'm going to try to play 3 more games, including this one I'm playing now. That is what I said, right? Or did I lose somebody? In any case, no, Milan Kirai is back, yeah. I'm a little pressed for time on Fridays because I have some other stuff. So I can't really let the stream go much beyond 12:30. I don't think he meant to sacrifice his queen. Sorry, man. That wasn't a planned sacrifice. I think really, I mean, maybe giving back the exchange is not crazy for me. If I give back the exchange, I have broken a lot of his attacking chances. Now I have like queen for rook and knight, or rook and bishop, which is adequate without the nasty counterplay he was getting in the other line. I mean, arguably, yes, this is a little harder to win because it's less material. But his bishop is really bad. That, you know, that's just not really a great piece. This, yeah, I saw that. Milan Kirai, I've got to take Saul's challenge next because he's a subscriber to the stream. But we're going to try to play these last 3 games. Yeah, I guess you were next, and Nabil, I don't know. Everybody claims that they're next. Like Nabil claims he was next. I've got to take the other challenge first, so let's just hope that you guys all get to play with the amount of time that we have. Because I do have to go pretty soon. Alright, maybe f4, huh? 98 is really passive. No, I really appreciate those of you who do subscribe. Ayesta and company. But he's defending like Nefedov here. Hanging on for dear life. But it's pretty tough. I mean, he's almost got enough material, but he's also spatially in trouble. It's not easy to save this for black. That's a really good try, though. Whoa. Bishop h4. He's basically playing without that knight. I almost went back there. That would have been a really, really bad move. Okay, next game, again, S4 is a subscriber. Another fairly strong player, over 2,000. Let's play back into the Sicilian. Your English is bad. My everything is bad except for English. We had a lot of games with Ayesta, actually. Ayesta shared a game yesterday. Uh-oh. The c3 variation, you have to play knight f6 here. If you play bishop d7, white gets a good game. Now this not that sure. Am I supposed to take that pawn? Knight takes e4. I mean, I guess I should go for it. It is a central pawn. I mean, we definitely want to take central pawns when given the chance. So I think in this case, black has a good bishop pair, and that gives me at least an equal game here. Queen is kind of annoying on a6. I wouldn't mind trading queens. Now the e file is interesting. I was hoping he would trade queens to make life a little simpler. If I play g6, he has rook e1, and that's pretty irritating. So I guess I have to play it like this. I'm not even sure if it was a good idea to play queen c8. I don't know. It's not bad because my queen has some good squares, but at the same time, maybe I, encouraged him to go back to the center, which is better than where he was. I don't know. One thing I do talk about a lot is not chasing your opponent's pieces that are misplaced, and I think in this case it's kind of it's an arguable point that I might have been helping him a little bit there. But we're developing fundamentally the two bishops, black's at least equal here. But this one and this one, these bishops aren't that active yet. So if he can control them and make it so they can't really play, just the fact that I played e6, I didn't really want to have to do that. But my bishop still has a lot of potential, especially on the long diagonal. It's the other bishop that's going to be harder to get into the game, the dark squared bishop. In the Scheveningen and a lot of e6, d6 Sicilians, that bishop is passive for a long time, obviously. I'm just going to go back to the normal square here. And again, I guess it's about equal. I would prefer black because the potential for the two bishops might be greater, but objectively it's close to equal. I'm gonna have to end the stream as soon as possible, so I'm gonna play these last couple of games as fast as I can. You've seen the knights win, yeah, definitely. I mean, everything can happen. This gives our rook some activity, and just grabbing space with the rook pawns is very good with bishops. Knight c4, he can get himself pinned, so I'm not sure he wants to go there. I mean, his knights only have the d4 outpost, but that can be taken away from him with e5 at some point, so knights need good outposts. No, I'm just speaking in terms of, like, if you gave me this position and you said, who would you rather play? Like, which side would you rather play? I mean, every time I would say black. But that's not to say that white doesn't have chances. The Jolly Joker is the important factor. This piece is unopposed. He didn't inflict any pawn structure damage. He had to take the double pawn to get it back, and materials equal. Normally in the Rossolimo bishop e5 Sicilians, white is like doubling the pawns or getting some concrete compensation for giving up the bishop. And here he doesn't really have it. He's going for 2 knights against 2 bishops. I guess I could have considered taking with the pawn there as well. All right, now gotta be a little careful. But I did mention this pin earlier. However, in that instance, I was talking about bishop e5. That's actually a pretty serious threat here. He doesn't have queen e4. It's actually hard for him to get out of the pin without moving his knight. And where's he going to go? It is true that oftentimes it's better to have 2 knights against 2 bishops than it is to have bishop and knight. The 2 knights coordinate. That was weird. It was almost like a mouse slip. But I guess we just win with bishop e5. I can't take any more challenges, so Tomoko, I'm going to have to decline. I've got to go in 15 minutes. We have time for the last 2 games. I'm going to have to make them fast. 12:30 is like my snack time before nap. No. I got to run and get some food. Then I've got other stuff to do. What happened here? We're just winning a piece, right? My mouse is acting up again. We can take on c4, or we can take on d6. And we're just up a piece, right? Not good. Strange noises coming from the downstairs neighbors. All right, let's play bishop there. Got a very good idea. Blockading on d5. Maybe even b3. Trading though down a piece I wouldn't recommend. Although, you know, the situation is obviously very, very bad for white. You're probably better off not trading. And this is an easy win. I don't want to trade pawns, I want to trade pieces when I'm up material. And he wants to trade pawns but not trade pieces. But he's going to run into Zugzwang eventually here. If I didn't have a bishop, it would be a different story. But with the extra bishop on the board, it's pretty easy to win. My next challenge is I'm going to play Nabil and Milan, and I'll let you guys... Tomoko just didn't get the message. I'll let you guys fight it out, you know, afterward about who was first and who was second. I'm just going to take them in the order that I got them. Bishop is a moving. Pawn has been called. Yeah, that's kind of an irritating move. And eventually he's going to run out of moves. I think he could have tried g5 and f4 there. That would have been probably best. Problem is that my f pawn is too strong. I don't think I played this optimally, but it should just be winning for black, no matter what. I think two rook pawns is too much. All right, thank you for the game. I'm gonna play Nabil and then Milan, and we're gonna move out of here. I'm gonna try to play extra fast because I've got to go. But you guys, while not subscribers, Nabil and Milan Kirai are here, you know, regularly. No, but Saul, I think it's no, it's playable for you. I don't really like that variation though. I don't like giving up the bishop in that spot for you. I mean, it may be not a bad line for fast chess like blitz or bullet, but I wouldn't do it in a regular game. Bishop takes c3, bishop takes g7. So he just blundered. Knight takes d5. And we're just up a rather good pawn. He should have exchanged on c3 earlier. It's a pretty typical variation, actually. The c4 lines of the Tarrasch are absolutely different from the normal lines where you get like an isolated pawn. It's a kind of strategic system. Similar to some lines of the Queen's Gambit, like the Manhattan variation. Now they're just a second problem with the c pawn and the b7 pawn. I think we're just winning here. Maybe it's better. No, I don't know. I kind of had to do this. 2 pawns up, and yeah, that's pretty much his only move. I mean, maybe I should just take it, but my bishop is really, really strong. So there's an argument for not taking that guy. You can take it, you're up 2 pawns. I mean, I think that's fully playable. This move is even interesting. We've got him pinned. Knight takes b7, bishop takes c6. Gives him a rook on the 7th. I mean, that's a little bit of, let's see, take. And I have a rook on the 7th actually there, so this really should be a win for me. We're up 2 pawns in a rook ending. I mean, that's very, very strong for white. Kind of hard to get my second rook on the 7th rank though. It's gonna take some work. Maybe a4. And wait a second, I should play this, right? Yeah, then we have interesting chances. Actually, he has rook f6 now. And that's gonna be irritating. I didn't see this. This makes it very difficult for me. Rook f6. Two pawns up and it's difficult to make progress. I can't let him in there. I'm just gonna have to lose my A pawn and continue trying to make progress in a different way. So now it's going to become a very, very long game. And I have to go in like 5 minutes. All right. We're just going to play fun chess here. But I can't really, play the best moves because I don't have time. We'll just do the best I can under the circumstances. Probably a winning position for white, but not as winning as it once was. A really long process here of winning this position. Let's change the plan a little bit. Now we're playing for something. Now we're winning. That's a big difference. I was like, oh, I thought it's mate. No. All right, last game. I can't play anybody else. Milan Kirai, 7+3. So we had to cede the initiative there for a little while. Actually, he played badly at the end. I mean, I'm sure there's a little better way to try to hold on. But he is a clear pawn down. Objectively, black was probably always lost. But I really did my best to try to mess it up. Not good technique in the middle there by myself. Very bad game. Yeah, bad by both of us. Yeah, I've been playing what now? Queen b3 is my new idea. What's e6 about? e6 is weird. That's a new one. Maybe I wouldn't have played queen b3 if I was paying closer attention to your move. I guess I thought you played c6 in my mind. Now queen b3 looks kind of silly, I have to say. That is a silly move by me at this point. It's not that bad, but I didn't need to do that. The second time I played a very stupid queen b3 today. Okay, now it's more or less a Catalan where black has fianchettoed his kingside bishop. I'm not sure about bishop g5. It's just a move. But he's threatening now d takes c here. Breaking the pin. Interesting. I'll take this off and just play with two knights in a closed position against two bishops and knight. Two knights and bishop against two bishops and knight. I gotta go, guys, in like 5 minutes, so I'm just gonna play this game kind of fast. I don't know that this is special, anything special for white, but I'm not worse. Will occasionally give up the bishops. However, I'm afraid that I have a little issue here. I guess I'll have to play c5. He's threatening bishop takes d4. Bishop takes d4 and d takes c4 simultaneously. Unless I can play like queen takes c4 as a pawn sacrifice. e3, pawn takes c4, queen takes c4, queen takes b2, knight bd2, and try to argue that I have compensation. We could try it. I mean, you only live once, so I'll try to sack a pawn here for some kind of play, Catalan style. Of course, he doesn't have to take the pawn. He could just play a solid move, like knight on bd7 or queen takes b3. Blazing Hearts, what? That's what she said. So the idea is pawn takes pawn, queen takes b2, knight on bd2, with Catalan type of knight e4, knight c5. His queen can get trapped. A very classic pawn sacrifice in Catalan type of structures. I didn't want to play, you know, some kind of lame move. That's why we're here. But I don't think objectively that this position is better for white. I think it's probably about equal. Again, he has the bishop pair long term. That's a really important factor. Even if the bishop is bad, as it is here on c8, it doesn't mean that it will always be a bad piece. And if you're patient with black, in many lines, like the Cambridge Springs and stuff, many lines of the Queen's Gambit, I think you'll eventually get some play. The Cambridge Springs comes to mind as probably the #1 example, where the bishop on c8 kind of slowly gets into the game. Cambridge Springs, Queen's Gambit, declined. Right, now we either avoid the exchange with knight d3 or play f4. Probably both are fine. When you play f4, you have to be wary that the opponent can play c5 at some point, but I just don't think that Milan's development, you know, can really offer that kind of counterplay. He'll lose the d5 pawn and stuff. Now maybe okay, we've got to take back. Okay, he can play this and then f6 or something. The question is what to do now. Like a Catalan. Not really sure how I should play this. My knight on d2 is bad. My knight on d2 is very bad. I need to fix that. That's a serious issue. So, queen a3. This Capablanca-like maneuver. I don't know if it's enough, but it's something. Queen is doing everything it can in its power. But I think that black has adequate chances here. He's 1800 in bullet. It's not bad. But I gotta go, guys. So anyway, I'm gonna say in advance thanks. Anyway, I have to go. Sunday is a simul, 30-30 simul here on lichess. I'll be doing, and here I guess we're playing knight b3. He could sack a piece there, though. Maybe it's better to play. Actually, b4, a5 is counterplay for him, too. Now he can try c5. It's risky. Well, bishop f8. Huh. Well, I guess now we've got to do c5, and maybe play for b4. Although it actually doesn't look good. I think I can play b4. a5 is too strong. We'll have to shift over to the f file here. How much play do I have there, though? Not a whole lot. I guess e4 is an idea. This is risky. He has bishop h6, and I'm not sure if I should have done this. Yeah, this is probably too risky for me. But I'm just really short of time, guys, so if I lose, I lose. Alright. Gotta come back. He could have played b6 there. I think he should have gone for it. Yeah, but like a couple of my streams went way too long lately. On Sunday, was it Sunday? No, last night was a little too long. I didn't finish until like 12. I didn't finish till it was just too late. So you guys gotta let me go when the time comes. You're like a jealous girlfriend. Alright. I got 2 more challenges. Dude, I already told that guy no. I hate it when people like, by the way, like it really pisses me off when people re-challenge me after I decline their challenges. I'll give you 2 chances, and if you do it a 3rd time, I'll block your account. It's just a pet peeve of mine, but it's like very disrespectful. You know, if somebody says they can't play, that means they can't play. So don't challenge them again. You know, it's not like they didn't see your challenge. You know, it's really little kid stuff. Usually I'm like working or something, and people challenge me, and I like decline it. Then they challenge me again. I'm like, all right, I'll decline it one more time. But I'm not gonna like play this game where you keep challenging me and I say no and you're like yes. All right. Anyway, I'm out of here, guys. Black is doing pretty well. He played this game really, really well. Seems like an awfully strong 1600. One of our many underrated opponents. I'm abandoning the C file for the F file for whatever it's worth. I still think that Black is really active here. I like his game. He's played super well. This is probably a stupid move. But maybe not. Risky plan. I'll sack the exchange. But maybe it's just sound strategically. Kamsky. Kamsky style. I don't know. H4, H5. He can't take the exchange, but I also can't break through very easily. I have to win by time. I'm going to finish the stream like 10 minutes late. And then people are waiting for me. Alright, he took. That should be really strong for white. I don't think he should take on f6. This just gives me a massive attack. If you just don't take, you can probably hang out for a while. I mean, it's possible that I don't have enough compensation. But on a practical level, it looks really strong. Rook f4 followed by rook h4 and queen e3. He saw that, apparently. Awfully strong for his rating. Rook h8 is an excellent defense. Anyway, we're 10 minutes late. Whoa. Okay. Counterplay. But now we're breaking through. That's it, right? Game over. So he had to play king h8 first. I'm not sure if it would have saved him, though. It's still like queen e3. h5, maybe. But there's no saving this. Okay, guys, I gotta run. Thank you for watching. And Sunday simul will be 30:30 with 6:30 starting time on Sunday night. Okay, guys, check it out Sunday. Thanks for subscribing. Check out the YouTube channel, Video Chess Training on YouTube, and I will see you on Sunday, if not then Monday, and the regular schedule next week. Welcome, everybody, and thanks, Soltigo, for moderating. Bye-bye.